keeps crumbling. Some things are terribly reliable, like suffering. But despite the scourge of injustice and the regularity of misery, we have learned to sing and therefore live in a full-throated way, without fear of an ugly mouth or crumpled face. What matters is that our voices are thick and honest. This blue-black living and doing is a bittersweet virtue, mastery in heartbreak, and raw laughter from the underside. We people who created a sound for the world's favorite color, the blues, offer a testimony. We have looked to the blue expanses of even our most treacherous of landscapes as places of possibility. The North Star in the midnight sky which led the enslaved to free territories, the celestial morning blue which somewhere out of sight housed the gates of heaven and relief from endless labor. We have even believed, leaping from slave ships, that the deep ocean waters would return us to freedom by traveling back to the past before the vicious trade in flesh. In the successive waves of reckonings through the steady meanness of life, we have relied upon a blues-soaked sensibility, sustaining, being, and becoming ourselves. I imagine my grandmother, the mother of a dozen who acquired a sweet yellow house by hook or crook, picking that blue paint. Charming and pretty, it was a color for homemaking. She, a nurturer and a stalwart, chose it. She was a woman who often chuckled softly while looking at her fingers stretched out, one hand gliding across the other. She made a home inside, when outside was Jim Crow humiliation, mean cops, too hard work for not enough, and eventually crack and its companion, neighborhood decline. Inside that blue room, all danger receded. Contained and abundant, it was and is a place for laughter, rest, self-adornment, and even dying soft. In my grandmother's bedroom, I learned to love blue. I also learned about the blues. She taught me that we who have the blues also have beauty, both beauty and the blues, inside and out. I never asked her whether blue was her favorite color. Those questions we forgot to ask while the people we love were living haunt us. But had I asked, I know she would have laughed. If I had asked more specifically why her room was blue, she probably would have said, "That's the color I chose," before reflecting on how pretty it had been when it was first painted. That's just a guess, but I think it is a good one. In 2023, when I asked another elder, Mother Annie Abrams, a retired teacher who runs a museum out of her home in Little Rock, Arkansas, about her bright blue house that sits bold on the corner and why she painted it that way, she said, "That's the color it was," and looked at me as if to say, "Case closed." I smiled, another answer I already should have considered. Still, I wondered, why so much blue? And what makes it matter? What makes it mournful and hopeful and black? How did the ones who Curtis Mayfield called, "We the people who are darker than blue," come to be? Writing in color. In the beginning, when I was just calling this my blue book, I read books and essays about colors. I loved how the writers ran through the science, symbols, and feelings associated with various hues. Some of these works read more like ornamental lists than narratives. And as much as I enjoyed them, I knew my task was different from their authors. I didn't want to write an exegesis on blue. I realized I wanted to write toward the mystery of blue and its alchemy in the lives of Black folk. As far back as I can remember,